I started out volunteering as a candy striper at Children's Hospital, and then I was a foster parent at early age, young adult. Also ended up at volunteering for an organization called CURE, which became City CURE and then City Gospel Ministries. In my time in Chicago, I volunteered on a board of an organization called Parentheses, which helped to alleviate isolation that parents feel. It kind of got started when a mother was experiencing postpartum depression and jumped to her death. And then I volunteered as a CASA, a court-appointed special advocate, which serves on the best interests of children in terms of if the judge could come off his seat and go out into the community, what would he see, and then come back and make a recommendation of what's in the best interest of the child. And then I got really involved in my children's schools, and that ended up with me becoming president of the parent organization, and then also board chair of an organization called Parents for Public Schools, and then ended up being serving on the national board as well. And then I ended up on the school board, and then I do a lot for the NAACP. So my mother was a nurse, and she worked at nursing homes, but she worked at the nursing home in Avondale on Forest Avenue for decades. She would always say that there were some folks who never had family to visit and wanted my sister and I just to come, if it was to talk to them, to read, or even just to touch them. I remember her saying, just if you just rub their arms or touch them, that was such an important thing to do, that was so meaningful. And I think just the idea that even though I may not have had as much, I always had this sense that I had so much more than other people, and just always had this desire to give. Every organization that I've been a part of has really had this mindset, and I think that's the attraction to the NAACP and its mission, and making sure that those voices who are not always heard the loudest, and those voices who don't speak for themselves, and those voices that people don't think are important, get a voice at the NAACP. This is an organization that does a lot that it doesn't get recognized for. I don't think a lot of people know just how much the NAACP serves across the community, across the region. I became very active once Mr. Richardson and Joe became the leaders of the organization. I think this award is perhaps more important to my children, and I think that when you have a parent who volunteers a lot or spends a lot of time outside of the home, they saw it a lot. I mean, they saw me doing that, but I always wanted to make sure that I was at their events, and there are a lot of times where they would be with me or alongside, and so to have that be a part of the way that I see it show up in them as well in some of the things that they're doing. I think it's important to volunteer because there's just so much to be done, and somebody's got to do it, and why not me?